It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me.
You won't find the answers by looking at the stars. It's a journey you'll have to take by looking inside yourself. You must write your own destiny.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Okay, it's ready. Sitting here with the legendary Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Thank you for talking to me. I told you a little bit about the documentary I'd been working on, and you know how it's from the perspective of the fans. And you being the legend that you are, I knew you would be here at the Squared Circle, and I just wanted to get your opinion on the fans. I mean, what do you love about the fans?
Well, I think we were talking about that earlier here. I think that's a conversation I have with a lot of folks about the fans in wrestling. I think one of the reasons that wrestlers appreciate the fans a lot more than other sports is because usually wrestlers have been around a little long. You know, football players you don't see last that long. Basketball players come and go. I think you see a lot of wrestlers in their late 30s, early 40s. So they realize the relationship with the fans is that important. Plus, I think our fans are like almost rabid fans. I mean, there's so many history fans that ask who won the first Royal Rumble or who did this or who did that. They know the statistics, and a lot of people are surprised. And I said, well, how many folks know baseball statistics or football statistics? And one thing about our fans, it's just not fans from America. You got fans from Wales. You got fans from 40 different countries at WrestleMania. It's amazing the appeal of professional wrestling around the world. I think the only thing that can really compete with it is soccer or European football. Besides that, it'd be wrestling around the world. It's my old joke with the NFL guys. I'm like, world champions? Where in the world have you guys been? You know?
Yeah, definitely. So what made you want to get into wrestling? I mean, was it always about the fans? I mean,
I really wasn't a fan growing up. I was mainly a football player, but just a fluke meeting with Fritz von Erich opened the door for me, and little did I realize what a huge gift he was giving me by doing that, but it's been a great business for me.
That's been you've had an amazing career. I mean, everybody knows who you are. I mean, I always say, I have the argument that it's like, people say they're wrestling fans, and I'm like, but how do you not know Macho Man Randy Savage? How do you not know Hulk Hogan? How do you not know Hacksaw? You have to know these names to like really understand wrestling, I mean, you may not have to know everything that there is to know, but you at least need to know who they are. That way you see how it all became what it is now, because wrestling, like one of the fans earlier were talking to you about, is not the same how it used to be, You always want to see how something started out and what it grew into, and
I think even nowadays, when I'm out with the current WWE guys, unless they're some of the top guys, more people recognize my generation of guys. Jake, DiBiase, Hogan, that group, that was the golden age of wrestling. And even though now with the network, though, it opened up us to a whole new generation of fans. So the network helped guys in my situation.
Yeah, that way the newer viewers can get to know those before that time.
Even like I was saying, a lot of Comic Cons, a lot of appearances. People will say the kids enjoy watching the network and watching the older stuff. I mean, the classic stuff. Did I say older?
It's funny because while I started working on this project, I actually met this 12-year-old kid, and I was just amazed at how much he knew. Mentioning guys like Macho Man Randy Savage, and I'm like, look at this kid, man. Knew all the terms.
I mean, like Halloween costumes. I mean, there's very few of the new guys. Bray Wyatt, you might see. I mean, back in, you see a lot of Piper costumes, you see a lot of Hogan costumes, even the Sheik and Nikolai costumes. I mean, I think our generation just people tend to remember it more than.
Well, that's the best part about the newer generation and everything that's been going on, because it's like now, because of the newer technology, you're able to do your research and go back into those times and learn
Everybody's
about
got
new things you didn't
websites
know.
and
Yeah, exactly.
Twitter and Facebook. But I think the older guys, we're a little behind, like on the Facebook and Twitter stuff. We're catching on.
Talk a little bit about your book. I purchased your book.
Yeah, books are just a positive look at wrestling instead of all that negative stuff. It's been a good business for me, like I said. No rehab, no booze or drugs. I've never been divorced with my wife for 31 years. No felony arrest. Put 2 girls through college. It's been a good business for me. So I wanted to, tell folks we're not all Scott Hall.
And one of the things I've touched on in this DVD is, so many of the wrestlers that I grew up watching, so many of the wrestlers passed that I didn't even get to meet or get to see growing up, because, as a child I didn't get to go to the shows until I got older. One of the things that I mentioned is that those who passed away, what I could say to them, a lot of the times the biggest words for me are thank you, for all your sacrifices, being in the ring. I mean, I know you were really good friends with Piper, and, I sent a nice little message. I mean, what do you want to say to all those wrestlers, fellow friends of yours that made sacrifices? And
I think the business is a lot like any other thing. It's what you make of it. And a lot of guys just used it as a stepping stool for movies or something. A lot of guys got caught up in the lifestyle, but a lot of the guys are also successful. So, it's a cross-section of any population. You got guys that are drug addicts, guys that are alcoholics, guys that were successful. So a good cross-section of the regular population, I guess.
Thank you, Mr. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. This means a lot to me personally, coming from a fan. And all I have to say is, ho!
Wait a minute. If you're gonna ho like you mean it. Let's go, baby! Ho!